First of all, if you look back into the history of Intel, Intel has been committed to education since its existence, in fact, of the company. And the main reason for that is, which is obvious knowledge, but many others just understood this the last year, that the competitiveness of a country really depends on good education. So not only for countries that are short of natural resources or other infrastructure of the industry, education is critical, but across the board. That was the reason for us from a corporate social responsibility perspective, as well as from a business perspective, to support education. And so just to give you one data point, we have been investing since the last 10 years, $1 billion in education, even during times of downturn, economic downturn in the world, which is clearly a commitment to support the governments in this world with education transformation, but also because we as future employers do care to have the right workforce in the future, we and our partners in the entire ecosystem. And understanding that without technology, this is not possible any longer. Not only from a skills perspective that you need as a future employee in a company or entrepreneur, but also from a scale and sustainability perspective. Think of Africa, think of Asia. You know, there are not so many bricks that you can build schools in order to support education. So you need to make sure that you reach everybody with quality education, give them access to it so that you really can talk about equality as well. So microlearning is in fact a trend that has been developed over the last, I would call it 5, 7, 8 years, while 10 years ago when we started this together with you, it was more vision. Because clearly the trend was that comprehensive, compact content, you know, is something that you can provide to an institution, a school, an organization. But, you know, the more the web became attractive, it was clear that the smaller the portions, the better not only you can digest and make use of it, but more importantly, you can create your own knowledge, your own content. And to me, the power of the web, the power of cloud is not only that it is accessible for everybody if you want, if you have access with your whatever device, but I think the most important is that you, in fact, can create your own content and then you can share it. And by communicating in a community, you can even keep a focus on specific areas you want. And then it starts developing and you reach a quality you never, ever could have reached by just a standalone application. So I think even companies like publishers that still provide comprehensive applications, and they will continue doing it because there's clearly a market there, they do provide continuously more microlearning content without even calling it like that, specifically for that reason. And then I think another one that I love in the conference discussion so much, not only that there are different perspectives from people, but I think also, you know, this debate, what is microlearning or what not, already shows that there is much more that you can put under this terminology than we sometimes currently do. So clear story, clear answer. That was a short one before, a longer one before. I think that the trend is to have smaller pieces that you can arrange yourself, ideally in collaboration with others, to create something new. So which to me is totally a development into quality direction. Microlearning as a concept, to me, offers a flexibility, because as I said, you can cut, in fact, like a puzzle, you can take different pieces, rearrange them and create additional parts so that it becomes a new quality. The second is our lifestyle is dominated by speed. And in order still to really deal with all the information, to broker this information, to manage it, be it in your head or on your computer or in your working environment, requires, in fact, that more and more content is provided as micro-learning content. that also allows much better as compact courses or so. It allows actually that you would gradually improve and increase your competencies and skills based on your own time schedule. In other words, what I see micro-learning content that is really compelling and state-of-the-art, it in fact exactly matches this requirement on flexibility. It does also match the requirements of repetition. It does meet requirements of creativity and creation so that it becomes your own content rather than you just use it as a consumer. And then beyond the own creativity and producer role that you have, you know, this whole role of communication and creation. And I specifically mention communication first and then creation, because again, when you communicate about where your progress in learning is, where your progress with this micro-learning content is, then others might share their learnings with that, their experiences with that, and jointly you might reach new levels. So to me, that is like, you know, 1 + 1 is not 2, but 3. When it really is guaranteed that those two partners that are communicating, normally you have hundreds of partners in a community, when they all are interested in the subject and are willing to contribute. So to me, this is nearly unlimited what can happen. And that's exactly human nature. That's exactly how people want to learn. And it's interesting that young people actually showed us how to do it. So the internet is full of young minds, creative minds. Young startup companies are in this field that are now already established companies, and news are coming. So fascinating. What kids do normally if they later on become successful is they have a dream. And we should allow ourselves, although it sounds so personal, to dream in this area. And in my opinion, what you want to do is, with microlearning, you want to come to human nature that close that it in fact, before you even willingly want to do the next step or require something, that this microlearning concept, not only the application, but the concept knows you, understands you, and provides it to you. So in other words, that it knows your behavior, your learning style, that it tracks your progress, your interest whatsoever, like a consumer that you see, however, but also that provokes, and I don't see that so much today, I even don't see a trend, that it provokes creativity in a way not only that it offers a variety or a diversity of options, but in fact, they should be conflicting options. Because you know yourself that very often out of a conflict, a new idea is born. So, and people normally have different, thoughts and sides, in their thinking. The whole brain is structured like that. If you can make use of this power of problem, or power of mistake, or power of challenge in one person's head, then that would be fantastic. Right now we see this in the community. And it should continue like that because, it's really about collaboration and collaborative problem solving, a skill that's extremely powerful. It should not, though, reduce the individual debate, the personal debate that you have with yourself. And I think this is where microlearning, because it's very much personal, if you do it right, can help. So to inspire a group's debate, a group's collaborative problem solving on the one hand, but also this personal problem solving in a way that you become more inspirational and innovative for others. So in the way I described it, you also heard that to me it's very much networked. It's not one linear thing, it's not a one answer, it's lots of options, it's the openness and the willingness to be to agree on different concepts, even if they are not matching. It doesn't matter, because out of this productive tension, I would call it, so many good ideas have been born. And if microlearning can add the speed to it, which is natural for microlearning, would be fantastic. There are two aspects, actually. The one is innovation, and specifically social innovation. When you read in newspapers today, the biggest surprise, the biggest or the most interesting business model come actually from the social side. Because what originally was just corporate social responsibility in a social community, or something that was just naturally growing bottoms up, apparently became business. And those activities drove innovation completely based on a different methodology, let me call it this way. So social innovation, to me, the combination of corporate social responsibility and business, supporting the world in this human progress for a better society, for a better economy, is amazing and has a huge potential. So you will see now both sides in the world, the business as well the CSR side, to support that. And it's amazing that it naturally grew up from, really bottoms up. The other one is the social networking that we mentioned earlier. Social networking today is already state of the art, especially for the young generation. And I'm very often hesitating to guide the youth how they can make progress and success in their personal life and in business overall, given that they have a unique power just as a generation that grew up with the internet. So I see a huge potential just coming from the different perspectives of the three generations, means very young students, and I really mean primary and first level secondary, then the university students or second half of secondary, and then in fact, the business, although the business you can also divide, because not only that they have their different experiences in life, but in fact they bring a new way of not only learning but thinking that will create new solutions that will drive innovation. And to me, innovation can only be generated out of let me say, productive problem. So you need to create those problems, this tension, so that you create something new and wonderful. So bottom line, if we better understand how to productively use this different perspective of generations, we will be very wise advised for progress of the mankind overall, rather than, like in the old days, talking about best known methods. They are not existing. Nobody knows what the best known method is. It is about open-mindedness and bringing the right creative minds together. And everything we can do as parents, as managers, as teachers and professors is develop those creative minds, because curiosity, creativity drives us to this new horizon.